I'm back for your entertainment. Watch me make yet another purse with a cute little poppy print for our trip to Las Vegas when we go see the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. Okay, so to make a purse, you're gonna need your outer, the pretty fabric, your liner, a stabilizer. This is pretty stable. I mean, it'll stand on its own if you really want it to. A stabilizer interfacing, and then 2 plain pieces of cotton, whatever scrap cotton you got lying around. It doesn't really matter what it looks like because no one's going to see it. And fusible adhesive. Now you're going to spray each side. You're going to spray this and iron this on. Also, you want to iron your fabric first as well. I just ironed these. All right, take this and spray. Make sure you get the corners pretty good and your edges. There we go. You lay that down nicer than that, and then you iron it. You iron that sucker right on there. Iron it on real good. Okay, so now it should look something like this. See, so you got the back piece there, and you're gonna pretty much treat this as like one fabric. And then you have your liner, and you're also gonna need to make 2 pocket pieces, and you will also need a zipper. I forgot to mention that. Okay, so you lay out this guy here, and then you put this over top, and then you're gonna fold it, and then you're gonna mark whatever kind of design you want to mark it to have. So you can do like a rounded edge, you could do like a straight across, so it's more like of a traditional envelope. I like doing like a diagonal, or well, I guess straight across is a diagonal though, and it gives that more true envelope look, but you can even do it rounded. You could do like a scalloped if you wanted to. There's lots of options that you could do, so it's really, really up to you. I'm just going to be boring and just do a diagonal line. I also clip mine down because when you fold it, it likes to shift, and that'll help prevent that from doing that. See what I'm saying? Okay, so now that you have that folded where you want it, this is also a great time to straighten this out if you wanted to. You should trim it like this, but probably better. The straighter the lines, the easier and better it's going to be for when you sew. One thing I will say too with the pattern is you want to make sure that you're doing like where the envelope part's going to be. You want to make sure your pattern is upside down because otherwise it's going to be the other way around. I made that mistake myself. So just so you know. I have it folded to right about there. So you're going to want to bring that up to where there's about 4 inches from here to here. And you fold that down, and then you're just going to mark with a pen on the white side right there. That's where you're going to want to start the cut to be, or even down here if you want it to start down here, like where you want it to be an end. So that would look kind of cool like that. I think I'm going to go with that little where that divot is right there. So you got to really use your imagination. These are the options. If you do, the more farther out you go, the more of it's going to look like an actual envelope. And then of course, the wider you go. So it kind of just depends on what you want. I think part of me really just wants to go for it and go for the super narrow, but you want to really make sure that you stay here. So when it folds over, that's where you want it to fold. And you don't want like a zipper exposed or anything with that kind of style. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. A rotary cutter is your best friend for this kind of a project. Okay, now it's time to make your pocket liners. And so you could use the outer fabric for like a fun pop of color, which I did with the other practice purses, but I am kind of running short because I need to make some pocket squares. So I need to use the rest of that for that. So we're just going to stick with red. And then you're going to want it to be however, here's our friend here. So you'll notice when you folded it up, you're going to find where you folded it up here. It'll be easy to find. It's kind of hard to see here, but you're going to match it up and count how many inches that is. So for me, it was 7 inches up, and then it's 12 inches across, which is perfect because I'm using a 13-inch zipper. Make sure you get your measurements right first because there's a surprise coming up. Okay, now that you have those cut out, you're going to take your zipper here, and then you're going to set that like that. I don't recommend this style of zipper for this, by the way, but this was all I had in this size on hand, and I really just didn't want to go and I just really don't want to go to the store. You know what I mean? We've all been there. Okay. So, and they need to get used. So I have this here, and then you're going to take one of your pieces as well one of your pocket liners and you're gonna sew right along top of that. This is really hard to do one-handed. I should get those glasses. But yep, and that's okay if it's a little shorter. It is okay if it's a little shorter. Actually, it's not okay if it's a little shorter. I gotta cut new pieces, darn it. That's okay, I can reuse these for something else. Darn it. Damn, all right, make sure you do it right because this wasn't done right. Okay, I fixed it. So now notice how the zipper is upside down. So you want to touch that and then you just take your one pocket liner that is the same size as everything else. And then you are going to clip that up and then go ahead and sew it. Okay, so we have that sewn on. So then you flip this over to the other side and you flip that over to the other side. So you can see, and you're going to want to like really push it down and crease it. And then you're going to sew a top stitch right along there too. So before you sew it, it's going to look something like that. So you want to really keep it tight. And then I like to clip it down. Those little clips are handy when you're a beginner, and you really want to keep the tension kind of tight in here. Because remember, this is like your bag. So you don't want to lose the shape of like the zipper and the liner, the zipper pouch. Okay, let's do this thing. Okay, so it should look something like this. Now remember, I'm a beginner, so my stitches are totally not straight, and that's okay. The point is to just sew. You're not going to be perfect. Okay, after you have that all sewn up, the top stitch down and everything, once you have that top stitched finished, you're going to come back, you're going to put your liner and have it touch in the pretty side, and then you're going to flip it over. After you clip it, of course, you'll flip it over, and then you'll take your other piece of fabric for the zipper pouch, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to zip it, or you're going to sew it right along that side of the zipper, and then you'll flip it over and then top stitch it again. Oops. Don't forget to change your thread. Oops. Oh well. So see where I made a little mistake there? So I fixed it so it wasn't as far out. So whenever you have a mistake, just fix it. If you have to seam rip it, you know, you just got to realize this is a hobby that's meant to take up your time. It's not meant to go by quick unless you like are really good and know what you're doing, which I kind of know what I'm doing and I'm kind of good. So you can kind of listen to me. So after that, after I fix it, I'm going to now top stitch right here. You're going to take your zipper pocket liner and you're going to leave a gap here, and you want it to be like big enough that your hand can fit through, because when you're pulling everything inside out through this gap, so you want to make it pretty wide. So you're just going to sew, you know, about 2.5 inches about here and here, and then that's it. You're going to stop. And you can see here how I zigzag stitch each side and how my hand fits in pretty comfortably. So now you want to fold it over so that you have this part just peeking through. So every time I have done this, the liner has never fit perfectly without. It just never has. So this is the 4th time I've done it. So, and like my umpteenth time making a purse. And so that's my issue. If you have that same issue, well, then you're welcome. Anyway, so once you do that, you're going to sew all along just the sides. Do not sew the bottom. Just right up in here. That's all you're going to do. And make sure to change your thread. When that happens and it doesn't look, you know, when it's like too much, just trim it. Just make it so it's even. Because if you try to you don't want your liner to be too tight. Otherwise it's going to pull. It's just not going to be like laying right and sitting right. So you want to make sure everything's even. If you have to trim things down, it's fine. This is a learning process. We're learning. This is for fun. Remember, this is for fun. Okay, now when you're dealing with all this thickness of a fabric, you want to do a 2 tension. And then I am making sure my needle's all the way to the right, and then a width, about a 3 width, 3 length, and then of course a zigzag. So do not forget that. That is actually really important. And a new needle is always great, but I didn't do that. So this is why it's important that you see your edge, because when I sewed this up, it got off kilter and I couldn't see where I was sewing, and now I'm way too far off. Like I need to be much closer to this edge. So I got to seam rip all that out. Ugh, no fun. Once you've stitched it all up, then you're gonna trim off any excess and then just make these little notches around the purse just to help with any tension release. And now it's time for the fun part, pulling it inside out. So just reach your hand through the zipper, make sure the zipper's unzipped first, and just grab that sucker and work it on through. You do have to be kind of gentle. This is why it's essential to have that wide gap that I was talking about, because it is a very thick interfacing and it's kind of stiff. So it's kind of tough to get that through there like that. And then you just want to poke your corners out. You can use scissors, you can use a chopstick, do whatever works best for you. And then there you have it. And now it's time to iron. Keep it on a low heat, no steam. That'll ruin the interfacing. And now we're gonna do the snaps. I will do a better video of how to do snaps. I couldn't find any on YouTube, not a single one. So I guess I need to fill that void and teach you how to do snaps. And so you do that, and then what's really fun about this is you get to use a hammer and just pound the heck out of it. It's always a good time when you're doing some pounding, if you know what I mean. And then this is kind of how I do very unprofessional way of doing the snaps, but you really want to just make a little hole, and then you got your little top part there, and you just hammer the dickens out of it. It's actually kind of a great way to get out some any sort of aggression. And then also we're going to move on to doing some brackets, which again, I will do a better video of that because there isn't a lot on the interwebs for learning how to do brackets and grommets and all that fun stuff. So that'll be another video for another time. You also have to have this really cool machine. You just place the washer on there, and then again, you just kind of press that down as hard as you can a few times, and there it is. There she is in all her glory. A finished purse. Not bad for an umpteenth try, but you just have to keep trying. The more you do it, the better it gets. I love the little zipper detail there. That is so super cute. Oh, and I have another one to show you. This will be my purse for when we go. I like a purple lining. The red one is for my best friend because it's her birthday when we go to Vegas. And then I made the little pocket squares out of that scrap fabric that like was too small. So that'll be for my husband, so he can be my matching accessory when we go see Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. I highly recommend for you to start sewing because look how cute these are. You can really turn any fabric you want into a purse. So keep sewing, keep having fun. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.